ಇವತ್ತು ಸುಗಮ ಡೇ ಯಾವ ದಿವಸ? ಬುಧವಾರ, ವೆಡ್ನೆಸ್ಡೇ 7th. ಓಕೆ,
ಅದೇ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಕಷಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಂಡೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಟು ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ. ಓಂ ಗುರುರ್ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಗುರುರ್ವಿಷ್ಣು ಗುರುರ್ದೇವೋ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರ ಗುರು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಪರಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ತಸ್ಮೈ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರವೇ ನಮಃ. ಶ್ರುತಿಸ್ಮೃತಿಪುರಾಣಾನಾಂ ಆಲಯಂ ಕರುಣಾಲಯಂ ನಮಾಮಿ ಭಗವತ್ಪಾದಶಂಕರಂ ಲೋಕಶಂಕರಂ ಶಂಕರಂ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯಂ ಕೇಶವಂ ಬಾದರಾಯಣಂ ಸೂತ್ರಭಾಷ್ಯಕೃತೌ ವಂದೇ ಭಗವಂತೌ ಪುನಃ ಪುನಃ. ನಮಾಮಿ ಗೌಡಪಾದಂಚ ಶಂಕರಂ ಶ್ರೀಸುರೇಶ್ವರಂ ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಂ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದಮಿಂದ್ರಂ ತಂ ಜ್ಞಾನರೂಪಿಣೇ. ಓಂ ನಾರಾಯಣ ನಾರಾಯಣ ನಾರಾಯಣ. ಇನ್ ಸುಗಮ we are discussing the 20th point. We have just concluded the 20th point. Now we proceed with the 21st. So when Purvapakshi told that Adhyasa requires Atma to be object, Siddhanti told, first he gave one answer. Okay, if you want Atma to be object, it is there. And that was the first answer. This first answer was an Abhyupagamavada. Abhyupagamavada means assuming given the answer. It is an answer, assuming it. Assuming means what? Assuming Purvapakshi's condition, accepting tentatively Purvapakshi's condition, it was stated. But now Siddhanti gives another answer. It is what is required. See, Atmanah prasiddhireva alam adhyasa nirvahaya. That Atma is evident, Atma being evident is enough. It need not be object, the second answer. Because the first answer is only a conditionally accepting Purvapakshi's rule. The Purvapakshi laid a condition that it must be object. But now he says even that condition is not required. We only answered by assuming, by tentatively accepting your condition. But we tell you now, it is not necessary that Atma becomes an object, really an object of you thought. Atma need not be an object of you thought for Adhyasa. But simply it is being evident is enough. Prasiddhi. Prasiddhi means being evident. Prasiddhi means somehow it is in your anubhava. Okay. Not necessarily through your sense organs. What manner it is evident is immaterial. That it is evident to us in some manner is enough. Okay. That is called prasiddhi in Sanskrit. Prasiddhi. So now I read out the answer. Adhyase sambhavana yuktyantara. For the possibility of adhyasa is another argument is given. Aparokshatvacha pratyagatma prasiddhe. Because pratyagatma is prasiddha. Prasiddha because it is aparoksha. Aparoksha means it is a matter of your experience, not through your sense organs, but it is directly available to your anubhava. Directly it is in your anubhava, available to anubhava, instead of stating that it is within your anubhava. Anubhava means it is within your awareness. Okay. Now that Swamiji explains that adhishtanasya aropyasya va vishayatvam na vyasanitaya rochayate bhavanapi. Now he says is addressing Purvapakshi. See, you wanted Purvapakshi, you wanted that Adhisthana Atma. Atma means, Adhisthana means the fact which was misunderstood. The fact which is misunderstood must be an object, you insisted. But you insisted this point that Atma should be an object, not just for sake of it. Adhishtanasya aropyasya va vishayatvam. That it should be an object, you insisted it. But the purpose is, kintu vishayatvamantarena kasya jatvi vastuno aprasiddhe. You insisted that it must be object because I know, not just for sake of argument, you have some point in it. Okay? When you insisted that point, that it should become an object, then only adhyasa is possible. You insisted not for sake of argument, but there is some point in your argument. What was the point? Atma should be available to us. Somewhere in some manner it should be evident to us. But that evident means prasiddha. It must be somewhere known to us in some manner. But how else a thing can be known? Siddhanti says, how else a thing can be known? A thing can be known only as an object. That is the only way. Kintu vishayatvamantarena kasyachidapi vastuno aprasiddhe. A thing is evident only as an object. Otherwise, how else you come to know it? Not becoming an object, you come to know. Prasiddhimantarena cha adhyasa nirvaha abhavat. Without being an object, it won't be available, it won't become evident. Without being evident, adhyasa is not possible. Therefore, tadartam vishayatvam taya tayorapekshate ityabhiprayah bhavatah. Therefore, you have a point, I understood. So Siddhanti himself clarifies Purvapakshi's point. That means Siddhanti is trying to take Purvapakshi in a positive sense, not as an enemy. See, this openness is required when you are discussing others' argument. Even see, when Purvapakshi told it must be an object, without being an object, nobody can mistake it. You have a point. What is it? It must be evident. Okay. Tayor apekshate ityabhiprayo bhavatapi. You also mean this. I got your implication. Now I don't want to unnecessarily argue with you, but I understood your point. Okay, Siddhanti acknowledges, I understood that it must be available to us in some manner, it should be evident to us. Okay, therefore tatra prasiddhireva kidrishi samabhishta iti vaktavyam. You told it must be evident. Okay, now I am putting a question. Siddhanti says, I am putting a question. It must be evident. You have a point and I also agree with you. But now the next point is, in what manner should it be evident? In what manner it must be evident, but in what manner it should be evident? Yadi vivikta pratyaya vishayataya sarvaloka prasiddhihi natarhi dehatmadhyasepi savidyate viviktataya. It should be evident, should be very clearly evident. Now, if you expect that kind of evidence, it's not possible, because dehatma adhyasepi savidyate. Even in the adhyasa between the deha and atma, navidyate nahi ayam deyaha ayam atma. See, aham pratyaya vishaya, that is atma and deha. Two levels of adhyasa. One is atma and anatma. Second is atma and deha. Okay. So, between atma and deha, even in this adhyasa, there is no a clear perception. In misunderstanding, you can't expect a very clear perception, because if the thing is very clear, if a thing is very clear, adhyasa is not possible. In adhyasa, there is a little vagueness, a little unclarity. Lack of clarity is expected in adhyasa. Therefore, nahi ayam dehaha ayam atma. This is body, this is atma. You can't see them very clearly. इति विविक्त प्रत्यय विषयतया प्रसिद्धिरस्ति लोके. Even in our anubhava, body, this is atma, we can't distinguish it so clearly because body is partly included in the atma. When you say I, you are including consciously, unconsciously body also. Okay, atacha bhavati tayor adhyasaha iti sarva sampratipanna tat, but yet we see that there is an adhyasa between atma and the deha. Though they are not clearly separately, clearly means separately, individually perceived. Body and atma are not individually, separately, this is body, this is atma. With a distinctly we don't see them. When we see them, they are mixed up. So, anyatra vedabhashya bauddha charvakade. Okay. Okay, Bauddha Charvaka, they mean differently, we leave them. Ato navivikta pratyaya vishayata niyatam samapekshate. Therefore, separately, independently, body and atma, separately seeing them is not required. Distinctly seeing them is not required for adhyasa. Therefore, this point you also accept it. Now when you told atma has to be evident, in what manner should it be evident? Siddhanti made two options, two alternatives. First alternative, he dismissed it. That alternative means body and atma should be distinctly perceptible for sake of adhyasa. Distinctly cannot be perceived. If you perceive distinctly, adhyasa is impossible. Because within adhyasa, they are not distinctly perceived. Okay. So, that first alternative given up because that alternative doesn't work. Yet, adhyasa needs some kind of evidence. What kind of evidence it requires? Second alternative. Ata kathanchitu prasiddhir abhipreta. In some manner, it must be evident. If this is what you require, definitely it is there. Atma is evident. Okay. Vidyate eva sa prakrute piti kim vishayatva pariyanta anudhavanena. So, in some manner, atma should be evident to be able to commit mistake, to be able to misunderstand it. Atma should be in some manner evident. If this is what you want, of course, atma is there. Atma is evident. Then, in some manner, it is evident enough or necessary for the adhyasa. For misunderstanding. Then why do you insist that it must be sense perceived only? Why do you want atma to be sense perceived alone to be able to have adhyasa, to be able to have a misunderstanding about adhyasa? Why do you insist that atma must be only sense perceived? We say that it need not be sense perceived, but in some manner it should be available to you. Some manner it should be evident in your anubhava. If that is what you insist, it is there. Atma is evident. Okay. Nanu pramanaihi siddhihi prasiddhihi sahi prakarshena siddhirvastunah prakarsham cha siddhehe. And the Purva Paksha is again saying pramanai siddhihi prasiddhihi. Atma is some manner prasiddhi, you told, some manner evident. Purva Pakshi says, but Atma is evident in no manner. Purva Pakshi argues. Okay. Then Siddhanti answers later. Purva Pakshi argues in more than one sentence, I think 5 to 6 sentences. Now let us listen what Purva Pakshi says. He says, evident means pramanaihi siddhihi prasiddhihi. Anything becomes evident only through pramana. This is important, Swamiji is touching because, see, note this, because all other schools except Advaitins, I tell you, except Advaitins, everybody, all schools, even the Vedic schools, even those schools which have based their Siddhanta on Upanishads, even they too are talking of pramana. Everybody talks of pramana. Advaitins only talk of directly anubhava independent of pramana. Now you see, this Purva Pakshi raising this objection on behalf of all these schools. Anything becomes prasiddha, anything becomes evident only through pramana. I talk to some people. They say, what is the pramana? You say Atma is Advaita, Atma is Nirguna. Where is the pramana? They say, show the Upanishad Vakya. See, Atma is Swatah Siddha, you don't need Upanishad. Now, a simple question I ask, Atma is there. Atma is consciousness. Atma is there. To accept that Atma is there, and what is the proof that Atma is there? Okay, this is the question. To accept that Atma is there, what is the proof? People say Shruti is proof. No. This is where we commit a mistake. Shruti is not proving the existence of Atma. Atma means oneself. First one is, therefore you go to listen to Shruti, you read Shruti, you study Shruti. Before you study Shruti, did you not exist? Are you not existing, those who do not study Shruti? So therefore, Upanishad is not revealing the Atma. Atma's existence is self-evident. It is everybody. It is oneself. That I exist, you don't need somebody to tell you. Okay. Atma exists, you don't need Veda, you don't need any person for that matter to tell you that you exist. My existence is self-revealing. Self-existence it is. Self-existence means I am Siddha. It is self-revealing. Its detailed nature is not known because Atma's existence is evident to us, commonly evident, naturally evident, but that evident Atma is partly sullied by Anatma. That's all we mean. Atma is sullied by Anatma. Even in its sullied condition, Atma's existence is known, not through Shruti, not through anybody. It is self-evident. Okay? This is Vedanta stand. Atma's existence, you don't need anything because it is there on its own. It is self-existent. Okay? Therefore, nanu pramana is siddhihi prasiddhihi. Purvapakshi says, anything has to be known. There must be pramana. That means, so they are taking some stand. They have their own stand. Before you condemn them, listen to what they say. How they understand Atma, just listen to them. They say, anything is siddha. Anything is evident only through pramana. This is a strange, those who understand Vedanta thoroughly well. This is a strange. Naiyayikas also say, Vast pramana, Lakshana pramana abhyam vastu siddhi, Naiyayikas say. Not only Naiyayikas, many schools based upon Upanishad also take the same thing. Everything has to be through pramana. They talk of pramana. Okay? Nanu pramana is siddhihi prasiddhihi sahi prakarshena siddhir vastunaha prakarshajancha siddheha samshaya viparyaya asambandena yathartha rupataiveti katham sarva pramana gocharasya prasiddhihi. Prasiddhi, siddhi means evident. Prasiddhi andre clearly evident. Very clearly evident. Prasiddhihi prakarshena siddhihi, very well evident. Okay. How a thing becomes clearly evident? Purvapakshi is continuing. It becomes prakarshena siddhi only when there is no doubt, no confusion, no misunderstanding. Then only a thing becomes clearly evident. Okay. Yathartha rupataiveti katham sarva pramana agocharasya. And you say Atma is beyond any pramana. Okay. Atma is not available for any pramana. Pratyaksha pramana, Anumana pramana, Shruti pramana. Shruti means Veda. Okay. No pramana can reveal the Atma, nor Atma needs pramana. Two sides you see. No pramana can reveal Atma. Because Atma is not an object of any pramana. Atma is not an object of any pramana. And if you know the nature of the Atma, there is no pramana which is capable of revealing, capable of identifying illumining Atma. There is no pramana that is capable of illumining Atma, and Atma by its nature is also not available to any pramana, because before you use pramana, Atma is present. Okay. Anyway, this Siddhanti says that. We will wait for Siddhanti to say. Now Purvapakshi continues. Anything is known, anything is evident only through pramana. That is his stand. Now what Siddhanti says, let us wait and see. Purvapakshi says anything is evident only through pramana. Without pramana, nothing is known. Okay, that is his stand. Many schools, except Advaitins, all the schools talk like that. Because I tried to talk to them. He says, where is the pramana? Where is the pramana? I was surprised. They keep on talking pramana, pramana, pramana. I was surprised when I spoke to one scholar, great scholar of these other schools. Dehat madhyasetu prasiddhihi katham sarva pramana agocharasya prasiddhihi. If Atma is available to no pramana, then how do you say it is evident at all? Atma is not evident. Dehat madhyasetu prasiddhirasti asya atmano aham pratyaya vishayataya. Okay. Now Atma is not evident, he talked about. But Purvapakshi is giving another example. Example is also Anubhava only. Example is also of Adhyasa only. What is that? Atma which is known to everybody. Atma is known to common man. Just a minute. Atma is known to common man in the worldly life as a subject. Okay, subject means aham pratyaya vishaya, as something which is in the sphere of I thought. Now that Atma, not the pure Atma, not the Sakshi Atma. Sakshi Atma is not even subject, is not even available for I thought. Okay, but what is available to I thought alone is commonly known to all, and we are all refer. We all refer to Atma only through I thought. Okay. So this Atma which we refer through I thought, which is evident to us through I thought, that is subject. Okay. This Atma which is known through I thought is identified with the body. Okay. Atma that is available to I thought identifies with the body. We call it Atma Deha Adhyasa. But the pure Atma is not available even to I thought, that is Sakshi Atma. That has to be, regarding that Purvapakshi is objecting. If that Atma which is not available even to I thought, how can you misunderstand? Impossible. Purvapakshi's point you see. We are talking Atma is two level. I think to make it clear, for some people, those who are sharp might have understood instantly. But for certain other people, I dilate it, I explain it a little more detail. Atma, we are talking of two level. One is the pure Atma, which is available to no thought, which is available to no pramana. Second is, it is available as an I thought, in the sphere of I thought, through the I thought. Okay. So this Atma which is available to I thought is commonly known to all of us. And this Atma which is available to I thought identifies with the body. This Adhyasa. This Adhyasa others accept. Okay. Other than Advaitins, non-Advaitins accept this Adhyasa. Vishishta Advaitins, Dvaitins, everybody accept this much Adhyasa. Atma which is an I thought, available to I thought, that Atma identifies with the body. So body identification can be removed and that I thought Atma remains. that is the real Atma that always remains. That much they accept it. So therefore, one part of Adhyasa is accepted by Vishishtadvaitins, Dvaitins also. They also accept one part of Adhyasa. That is, Atma that is available to I thought identifies with the body. This much Adhyasa is accepted by all schools, all Vedika schools. Vishishtadvaitins, Dvaitins, Naiyayika, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, everybody, Mimamsaka, everybody accepts. Bauddhas and others may not accept, and that's Bauddha, Nastika, Charvaka, theirs is different. Okay, but Vedika schools, they all accept Atma that is known through I thought is the Atma, that is a Jivatma. As a Jiva, you identify with the body. Okay, therefore, Jiva identifying with the body, this Adhyasa is accepted by all schools of Vedika souls. Jiva is a I thought, available to I thought, he identifies with the body. This is Adhyasa, identifying with the body, misunderstanding body to be myself is an Adhyasa. It is accepted by all schools, including Vishishtadvaitins, Dvaitins also accept that Deha is an Adhyasa. So you have to get rid of that identification with the body through understanding. Okay. So Dehatma Adhyasetu. Just a minute. Dehatma Adhyasetu Prasiddhirasti Asya Atmano Aham Pratyaya Vishayatva. In this Adhyasa, which is commonly accepted to all schools of Vedantins and all schools of Veda based school, all Vedic schools, let us say. All Vedantic schools or Vedic schools accept this Adhyasa. Atma, which is available to I thought, identifies with the body. Here it is very clear, Atma is known through I thought. Okay? So Atma is Prasiddha. Through I thought it is Prasiddha. Prasiddha means evident. Atma is evident through I thought. And that once it becomes evident through I thought, then it can identify with the body, acceptable. Purvapakshi says this I accept, because first it should be available to some thought. If it is once it is available to I thought, then the next step of Adhyasa, identifying with the body, identifying with other things, are understandable, acceptable. But you are questioning, you say it is not available to even I thought. This is where I have an objection. Who is telling? Purvapakshi says. Tavatu aham pratyaya vishayatamapi apannuvanasya. You say that even the aham pratyaya vishayata, even the availability, even the evidence through I thought also you are rejecting, Purvapakshi says. Objecting to Vedantin. You are rejecting the availability or being evident to I thought, that also you are rejecting. All other schools like Vishishtadvaitins, Dvaitins, Naiyayika, Sankhya, Puramimamsa, all people accept that. Okay. Everybody accepts Atma is evident to I thought. Once you accept that it is evident to I thought, then Adhyasa is possible, because I thought is there. Through that I thought, Adhyasa becomes possible. But now you say, if it is not available to even to I thought, then how else it is evident? No evident. All evidence is gone. Evidence through I thought as a subject. But you say not evident, not available even to I thought. Then he says, Katham prasiddhir atmana. How can Atma be prasiddha, evident? How can Atma be evident? Then it is not evident. A non-evident Atma, impossible to be mistaken. This is the Purvapakshi's argument, isn't it? It's a good point, because Dvaitins and Vishishtadvaitins and Naiyayika, Sankhya, Mimamsaka, all schools, Vallabha Nimbarka, they all schools say Atma is Aham Pratyaya Vishaya. Therefore, Adhyasa is possible because it is evident at least in that way. But now you Advaita is telling even the Aham Pratyaya Vishaya itself is Adhyasa later. Aham Pratyaya Vishaya being evident to I thought is also due to Adhyasa. So before Adhyasa, how is Atma? Before means more than Adhyasa, more than I thought. Other than the I thought, more than the I thought, how else Atma available? Where is availability? Where is evidence of Atma? Atma is not evident. But you are telling Atma is evident even independent of I thought. But such evidence is not there, Purvapakshi says. Siddhanti says, Natarhi pramananam prasiddhihi. Because Siddhanti answers now. Okay? Siddhanti, as he starts his answer, first he addresses the first argument of Purvapakshi, then he answers it. First argument of Purvapakshi is, it should be Pramana Siddha, he told it. Now first I shall reply this argument first and later come to the evidence of Atma. Okay. Natarhi pramananam prasiddhihi. You told anything should be evident. If anything that has to be evident, it must be evident only through pramana. I repeat this. If you want anything to be for anything to be evident, it has to be evident only through pramana. This was the condition Purvapakshi laid. This is what Siddhanta is questioning. Okay. Siddhanta is questioning the evidence through pramana. He says, Nahi pramananam prasiddhihi. If you go by your argument, if we go by your argument that anything can be evident only through pramana, you are taking a weak position. You are preparing yourself for getting defeated. Siddhanti says, I tell you, you will lose. You are going to lose if you take that stand. What is your stand? For anything to be evident, it has to be through pramana. If that is the case, if pramana has to prove something as existing, then who is to prove the pramana? That is the question of Advaita. How do you prove the very pramanas? How do you know that the pramanas are existing? Okay. See, natarhi pramananam prasiddhi. For anything to be evident, it has to be only through pramana. Then pramanas, how do you know? How are the pramanas evident? You mean to know the pramana, you require another pramana? Is there another pramana? Is there another pramana which knows the pramana? Is there a pramana which proves the very pramana? Oh, such a thing doesn't exist. Nahi pramana vishayakani pramanantarani santi yai ramesham prasiddhi syat. This is the argument. To prove the pramanas, to know the evidence of the pramana. Evident means anubhava. To know the pramanas, do you have another pramana? Another pramana proves this pramana? Okay. Now the Purvapakshi. Syad etat pramana vyatirikta vishayakaha evayam prasiddha prasiddha vyavaharaha nahi swayam aprasiddhani pramanani vishaya prasiddhim sampadayitum alamiti. Pramana vyatirikta vishayakaha evayam prasiddha prasiddha vyavaharaha. Okay. Then you may say, Purvapakshi changes his stand. Either Purvapakshi changes or say that another Purvapakshi is talking. Either way you take it. Okay, Purvapakshi says, okay, I accept, because that argument is obviously flawed argument. What is the flaw? Oh, it is disconnecting. Okay, trying to reconnect. I shall wait for that Facebook to. There is some trouble. There is some disturbance. Poor wireless connection. Your video has been paused. Consider moving to find a better signal, or you can end the broadcast. Okay. He says another signal. Look for another better place for signal. Let me wait for a while. Okay, I shall close it and restart. Okay, no, better to continue until we get the signal. The problem is with the signal. Ayyo Rama, so long it has taken no signal. Then I'll restart. Okay. Owing to signal problem, I am just restarting, but it is not taking. That's not accepting that phone, so I started in another phone. Okay. Yeah, I started in another phone. The signal of that is not working. Somehow there is some trouble. Okay. But both are running. What am I to do? Anyway, let both run. Okay, somebody may see that, somebody may see this. That started again. Okay. But mic is a problem. Okay. I put the mic on the other one. The other one. Should I continue the same? Okay, continue this only. Okay. So the Purvapakshi changes his argument. First he told, I think I changed this thing. Okay, I changed this. Oh, some people are seeing in that, some people are seeing in this. Two phones, which one I should see? If you can hear, then I'll continue this phone only. Okay. Two phones are on, I don't know which one. Okay. So nahi pramana. Now he says pramana siddhi. I am not arguing. Purvapakshi is changing his stand. He says pramana vetirikta vishayaka evayam prasiddha prasiddha. He says we are talking of evident or not evident about the Atma which is not available to pramana. Earlier he told it should be only pramana siddha. Okay. Now he says we are not talking about pramana siddha. Evident through pramana. We set aside the pramana. We are talking about the thing which is beyond pramana. Which is beyond pramana only we are talking. Pramana vetirikta vishayakaha. What is beyond pramana? What is beyond pramana? How do you know that it is evident? Coming to this point. Nahi swayam aprasiddhani pramanani nahi swayam aprasiddhani pramanani vishaya prasiddhim sampadayitum alam. Because pramanas themselves cannot prove the pramana. Therefore, we are talking of that which is beyond pramana. How do you know that it is prasiddha, it is evident? To this Siddhanti says, Natarhi pramanaihi prasadhyanyeva artaha prasiddho bhavati. Then you are coming to my point. Siddhanti says, you are coming to my point. What is that point? That it is not necessary that a thing should be evident only through pramana. It can be evident beyond pramana also, where pramana is not required. It's not necessary that it should be evident through pramana. Natarhi pramanaihi prasiddhyanneva artaha prasiddho bhavati. The thing could be prasiddha. This is important. Something can be evident to us without using the pramana. Because pramanas themselves are evident to us. How are we using pramanas? See, we use pramana and come to know something. But how do we use pramana? Pramana himself is not known through pramana. Isn't it? Pramanas themselves are not known through pramanas. Yet pramanas, we are using them. We know the pramanas. That means there is something where you don't need pramana, yet it is evident. Okay. One example is pramana itself. Pramana itself is evident without using pramana. Pramana itself is evident. There is two evidences. One is through pramana, another is pramana itself. Through pramana evident is one, another is pramana itself is evident directly evident. Okay. Because pramanas are evident not through pramana, pramanas are evident directly. Therefore, nahitarhi pramanaihi prasiddhyanneva artha prasiddho bhavati anyathapi prasiddher bhavataiva anujnanat. Then thus you have accepted that there is a prasiddhi which is beyond pramana, which doesn't need the usage of pramana. Without using the pramana, there is a direct evidence also. You have accepted. Siddhanti says you have accepted. Because pramanas are evident. Without using pramanas, pramanas themselves are evident. That means Ataha idam ayatam yada atmanopi pramana irvina prasiddho nakopi doshatanka iti. Then Atma is prasiddha. Now two things. One is regarding the pramanas. Regarding the pramanas, you accept the prasiddhi of pramanas. Prasiddhi of pramanas without using pramana. If once you accept the pramanas themselves are evident without using pramana, then Atma also could be evident without using pramanas. Okay. Atma is also evident, then why refuse to accept this? Atma is also directly evident without using pramanas, without needing pramanas. Okay, nahi kasyachid atma bhavati parokshaha. How Atma is evident? See, Atma is evident, it is an anubhava. Anubhava, you are asking the proof for anubhava. This is very impossible to. This is, person has to watch it. Atma is self-evident. Atma is anubhava. For anubhava, do you need another one? It is something like, how do you know that the sun has risen? How do you know that the day has occurred? The day has occurred is self-evident. You don't need to prove another thing. You don't need a torchlight to show that it is a daytime now, the sun has come up. If sun comes up, directly you know. You don't need any other proof. Whether the sun has risen or not directly is known. Similarly, that Atma is directly known. You don't need any, because we can only say a negative argument. Positive argument is not possible. What is that? Atma is never paroksha. See, Atma never becomes paroksha. It is aparoksha. That is, it is a self-shining. Nobody ever loses the sight of Atma. Atma can never become paroksha. Na kasyachid Atma bhavati paroksha. Paroksha means nobody can say, oh, Atma, what is that? What is that? Nobody ever doubts about yourself. Myself? Nobody says, you are talking about me, but I don't exist. I have never known myself. Does anybody say? Because you know so much, so evident. That I exist is so evident, nobody doubts about it. Nobody ever says, oh, I don't know myself. Because your existence is self-shining. Okay. Your existence is self-shining directly. So therefore, nahi kasyachid atma bhavati parokshaha avyavahitatvat, because there is nothing intervening, nothing intercepting. See, if there is something intercepting, a time distance, a space distance, or a wall or something, then to remove it you require a pramana. You require a pramana. See, something, in order to know if there is a something obstructing you. Supposing there is a wall, there is a curtain, you have to remove the curtain and you come to know it. When the sun has risen, what is that intercepting to see the sun? Tell me. When the sun has risen, to know the sun, what is it that is intercepting, that is obstructing? So that to remove that obstruction, you need to use pramana. You don't need any other pramana. When sun rises, directly you know it. When somebody asks, see, now it is a dark now, I am unable to go. Somebody says, don't worry, sun will rise shortly, he says. But he says, yeah, you have given me good news that sun will rise and the light will come up and I can go, daytime will start. But I have one doubt, how do I know that the sun has risen? How do I know that the day has come? He will only has to say that, don't worry, that you will know directly yourself. You don't have to ask me. You don't have to ask anybody for that matter. After some time the sun has risen. Now the daytime started. Now will you have a doubt that asked, you see, now sir, I have a doubt, has sun risen? Now has the day come? Unless he is a blind man, nobody would ask like that. Only blind man would ask such a question. Nobody would ask that. They say, if day has come, and he says that now I don't need to ask you anybody because I know myself. How do you know? How do you know? Don't ask me, because I know, that's all. How do I know? I don't know. It is there. Similarly, Atma is evident. You don't need even the I thought, because I thought is also known in the Atma. I thought is also known in the awareness of Atma. Okay? That awareness in which the I thought is known, what do you need? I thought is also known in the awareness of the Atma, in the consciousness of Atma. So that conscious of the Atma is a self-evident, therefore you don't need any thought. Even the thought also, how do you know? Thought comes and goes. You see, in the waking there is a I thought. In deep sleep there is no I thought. See? In the deep sleep there is no I thought. When you wake up, I thought comes. When you wake up, when you are in waking state, there is I thought. When you are in deep sleep, there is no I thought. How do you know that there is no I thought in deep sleep and there is an I thought in waking state? On what strength you know it? I don't know, but I say that I know it. That's what I am asking. On what strength? There is something in you that you don't deny, you can't deny. It is there, self-existing. Self-existing on its own. Nobody needs it to be proven. It doesn't need to be proven. It is there, self-evident. Even the thought of I comes, thought of I goes. There is something. If that were not there, you can't talk, you can't listen, you can't do anything. Even these words you would not be able to listen unless you are conscious. That you are a conscious being needs no proof. Because even to listen to my words, you have to be a conscious being. To use your ears, to use your mind. Now, is your ears functioning or not? I am able to hear, I am able to hear. How do you know? Okay. Now, is your mind functioning or not? Yes, I have a mind. How do you know? Sometimes mind goes off. like in deep sleep. Mind is not there. Again mind comes back. Yes, mind has come. How do you know mind has come? Because mind was not there before in deep sleep. Oh, you know that mind was not there? Yes, I know. Now mind has come? Yes, I know. On what basis? See, mind was not there in deep sleep. When you wake up, you say, mind has come, mind has come. Yes, I am able to see the world, I am able to have a thought. I have a thought now. For a while there was no thought, there is a blank. Like in deep sleep, there is a blank. How do you know? Now later thought has come. There was a blank and now thought has come. How do you know? What is the basis? That basis is self-evident. Okay? That is the self-evident Atma, because of which you are able to see the thought is coming and thought is blank. Thought is blank means there is nothing. That means when there is no thought, you don't say there is no thought. See, this you note it. When there is no thought in deep sleep, you had no thought to say that there is no thought, there is no thought, there is blank. This thought of blankness is not there. Okay, remember that. There is no thought of blankness. But when the thought comes, you say, oh, there was no thought before, now thought has come. This much you can recognize. Okay? Once the thought comes into the waking state, this is a very subtle point, note it. In deep sleep, you didn't have a thought that there is no thought, there is blank. You didn't have this thought. But when you wake up, when the thought comes, then you say, oh, I didn't have the thought so far, now I see the thought. Now I see the I thought. I didn't have the I thought before. Now I have the I thought. You recognize? A contrasting I thought. I thought is there and there was no I thought before. How are you able to contrast? On what basis? That basis is self-existing Atma. Okay. It is a very subtle thing. It is a very subtle thing. I thought is there in waking. In deep sleep, there is no I thought. You can see the contrast. I thought is there in waking and dream. In deep sleep, there is no I thought. Totally blank. So there is a contrast to the I thought. Contrast to the I thought is evident to something. That evidence, self-existing evidence, is there. Nobody can deny. An undeniable self-evidence. Okay? Undeniable alone we can say. We can't prove it by any other means. We can only say it is undeniable, only we can point out. Undeniable. We can't show it a positive evidence. Positive thought, I can't use it to show it. But you can say you can't deny it. There is something, the basis for thought arising and thought disappearing. Thought arising and thought disappearing. I thought arising and I thought disappearing. Okay? I thought is not there. Disappearing means I thought is not there. When the I thought comes, you can see the contrast. Oh, I thought is there now. There was no I thought. There was no I thought. Now I have an I thought. There was no I thought. Okay? Even the contrast of I thought, the limitations of I thought. How do you know the limitation of I thought? The ending of I thought. The limitation, I thought has arisen. I thought, there is a contrast to the I thought. The ending of I thought. I thought can be contrasted. To be able to contrast, there should be something other than I thought. How do you know that? Other than I thought, blankness, contrast to the I thought, you can see what is that basis. That is a self-evident. That is cannot be denied. What is already evident, I can't use the words to explain it. Because even my words, you listen in that. Even you listen to my words in that. Even this thought arises in that. That is the basis in which even the thought is arising. Okay? So you are not trying to prove that through the thought. Because the thought arising and not is the thought, the contrast of the thought arising and thought disappearing itself is known because of that. And that is self-evident. That is self-evident. Okay? That self-evidence, nahi kasyachid atma bhavati parokshaha avyavahitatvat. Okay. Nahi swarupameva swasya kenachit vyavahitam shakyam kalpayitum. And that atma, you may use some word we are using it. Because don't see, any word when we use, every word is used only to create a thought. See, generally, I am talking in general, a word is used to create a thought. But here when we are talking self-evident, the word is coming and not creating a thought, because self-evident is already there. In that the thought is known. In that the word is known. So that self-evident thought is not created of the self-evident. You can only say it is undeniable. That's all you can say. You can't deny it. You can't deny it. That's all. Self-evidence is only undeniable. You can use the word of undeniability, but you can't use a word to objectify it. You can't create a thought about self-existence. Okay. Self-existence, you can't create a thought. It is unlike anything else, you can say. Unlike anything else. You can only deny all others. You can negate all others which are known through thought. All others are known through thought. Therefore, it is unlike that. Anything else is known through thought. But the self-evident Atma doesn't need a thought. You can only negate the thought, that's all. But you can't positively give a thought for the self-evidence. Okay? See the difference. Any other thing is known through thought. World is known through thought. Aham buddhi, aham thought also is there. But aham thought goes away and comes. There is a contrast to aham thought known through a self-evidence. But that self-evidence can't be known through, you can't create another thought for self-evident Atma. Self-evident basis, whatever name you call it. But all those names are only negating names, not positive names. Atma word is also a negating name. It is not a positive name. Atma word is not creating an Atma thought. It is only something other than all the known. Something other than all that is known. That's all it only says. Atma word negates all others. Itself doesn't create a positive thought. Okay? You see, Atma word is a peculiar word. It is not known. Anything is known to consciousness. Okay? It is something unlike known to consciousness. Unlike known through the thought. Okay? It is something unlike known through any thought. Unlike known through any thought. It is just Swayam. Okay, the other phone has gone back. I don't know. Okay, this phone is running. Therefore, we can only by negation you can talk of it. Because positive negation means by contrast, unlike any other. It is self-evident. Therefore, a self-evident Atma, these words are only negating all others. But it's not creating a positive thought. Therefore, Atma is aparokshaha. It never becomes got out of sight. It never goes out of sight. It is the self-existing consciousness in which all other thoughts arising, disappearing can be known. Therefore, nahi swarupameva sasya kenachit sai. Therefore, this swarupam doesn't need to be objectified by a thought. A thought can objectify only if there is an obstruction. The thought can eliminate the obstruction and point out. But there is nothing to obstruct the self-consciousness, self-existence of Atma. Therefore, you don't need a thought to objectify the Atma. Atma is self-evident. Therefore, kenachit vyavahitam shakyam kalpayitum Atma cha swarupamiti. Atma is self-evident. Atma is swarupam. Okay. Atayeva cha na pramanaihi siddhaha. Therefore, Atma doesn't need any thought to establish it. Any thought, pramana means thought. Atma doesn't need any thought to establish it. Apekshita vyavahita prameya vishayatvat pramanana. Pramanas are required to illumine an object through the thought. What does the thought do? Thought can only objectify it. Okay. It can remove certain obstruction. A thought can remove an obstruction and show it. But here the self-evident thought is not required. Even the thought is known through it. Okay. I can give you one very common man's example and conclude today's talk because time is up. You have a 1 liter vessel. You go to the sea and try to measure the sea. Each time you measure, you find only 1 liter water. But the same liter, see the vessel which measures 1 liter can also say something, can point out something. What is that? here is something which is more than 1 liter. It was, now you say, now if you ask me, do you have a measuring vessel which can measure more than 1 liter? No, I don't have it. But how can you say it is more than 1 liter? Tell me. The sea, you have got only 1 liter measure, 1 or 10 liter, let us say. You have got only 10 liter measure. You go and try to dip it in the sea and see that, oh my God, sea is something more. You can only negate the 10 liter, that's all. The liter measure or 10 liter measure, if it is within 10 liter, it can measure. If it is more than 10 liter also, it doesn't measure, but it can tell. What is tell? I can't measure it. I am not enough. I am unfit for it. So this much it reveals it is something more than 10 liter. Okay? By negating, by becoming useless, the 10 liter vessel, oh my God. Oh, this is another phone. People are calling. Okay, I think I conclude it. So, because this topic I wanted to complete it. Anyway, next class I shall continue. I'll just say one sentence and close it, because that another signal is not working. This one signal is tentatively working. So the liter vessel is incapable of measuring. But when it is incapable, itself reveals something. Similarly, thought cannot reveal the self-existence and Atma, because thought is incapable. Thought itself comes and goes. Thought itself is incapable. Then how do you know that the thought itself is incapable? That is self-evident. Okay? So that self-evidence, you don't need any thought. This point we need to discuss. Anyway, in a very prime time, the signals are giving trouble. Anyway, we'll discuss in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.